you're getting a little, your knees getting a little wobbly on that protest vote, isn't it?
They're getting a little wobbly, but they're still sturdy. And part of, you know, I was really annoyed, actually, by the president's speech.
Were you really? I thought that was inspiring.
Well, you know, I think part of what we see is that the Clinton campaign made a bad decision. They spent most of the summer trying to court disaffected Republicans and taking their base for granted. And I've said on this show that what would happen as she was getting the endorsements of Bush Republicans and the like, how would that excite those folks who were supporting Bernie Sanders? How would that excite Latino voters? How would it excite African-American voters? And so now what do we get? Instead of a series of rational arguments from the president to black voters, we get, you know, don't insult me.
Wow.
And I just find that condescending. And I know I'm going to get in trouble for it.
Wow.
Well,
I just find it condescending.
Just who we elect. Read up on your history. It matters. We've got to get people to vote. In fact, if you want to give Michelle and me a good send-off, and that was a beautiful video, but don't just watch us walk off into the sunset now. Get people registered to vote. If you care about our legacy, realize everything we stand for is at stake. All the progress we've made is at stake in this election. My name may not be on the ballot, but our progress is on the ballot. Tolerance is on the ballot. Democracy is on the ballot. Justice is on the ballot. Good schools are on the ballot. Ending mass incarceration, that's on the ballot right now. And there is one candidate who will advance those things. And there's another candidate whose defining principle, the central theme of his candidacy, is opposition to all that we've done. There's no such thing as a vote that doesn't matter. It all matters. And after we have achieved historic turnout in 2008 and 2012, especially in the African-American community, I will consider it a personal insult, an insult to my legacy, if this community lets down its guard and fails to activate itself in this election. You want to give me a good send-up? Go vote! And I'm going to be working as hard as I can these next 7 weeks to make sure folks do.
Going to rebuild our country. Our infrastructure is a disaster. Our country is a mess. With $20 trillion in debt. Think of it, $20 trillion. At the center of the effort will be, in fact, the rebuilding of our inner cities. Nearly 4 in 10 African-American children live in poverty, including 45% of African-American children under the age of 6. Think of that. The schools are failing. The jobs are leaving, and millions are trapped in poverty. So to the African-American community, I say, vote for Donald Trump. I will fix it. I will fix it.
That was Donald Trump earlier today at a rally in North Carolina. Now, tomorrow night, I'll be in Cleveland, Ohio, with the GOP nominee doing an hour town hall focusing on issues that impact the African-American community. Now, we'll be doing that event tomorrow, and we'll have guests at the church at the Buckeye State. Joining us now is the CEO for the National Diversity Coalition for Donald Trump, the Reverend Darrell Scott. And also joining us, senior advisor for African-American outreach for the Trump campaign, Omarosa, is on my show. I can't believe it.
Hi, Hannity.
You have one name. Everybody knows you as Omarosa, and Fox News contributor Roy Murdoch. Since Obama's been president, there's been a 58% increase, black Americans on food stamps. Yeah. We have 12 million more Americans on food stamps, 8 million more Americans in poverty, a 20% increase of black Americans out of the labor force. These are real people, real suffering, our fellow countrymen. Democrats play the race card every year. Will it work this year, Pastor?
I don't think it will. You know, Americans are not stupid, and black Americans are not stupid. We hear Hillary, we hear Donald Trump, and what Donald Trump is saying makes more sense than what Hillary Clinton is saying. She's trying to sell us on some type of fantasy of some utopian society, while Trump assesses the world through a realistic viewpoint. And Trump is saying we have to deal with the world the way it is and not deal with things the way we wish they were. And so what happens is the Democrats, Hillary Clinton, they try to make it a personal choice rather than a political choice. And, you know, she'll say, well, women don't vote for Trump because he's a misogynist, and foreigners don't vote for him because he's a xenophobe, and blacks and minorities don't vote for him because he's a racist. But that's not working. The field is clearer now. We don't have 19 different voices to hear. There are 2 candidates left. We're able to hear what she says. We're able to hear what he says. We're able to process it. And once again, what he says makes a whole lot more sense than that crazy stuff she's talking about.
And Marosa, you're going to be joining us tomorrow. Look forward to seeing you again. And what are your thoughts on all this?
You know, I think it's important to note that the African-American community has been extremely loyal to the Democrats, but unfortunately, the Democrats have not been loyal to African-Americans. Among those statistics that you mentioned, we also saw home ownership among African-Americans drop significantly. When you look at a city like Chicago, where 60% of the young African-American men are either unemployed or not in school, we are failing the community, and Donald Trump wants to bring change to the inner city.
And he's reaching in deep. He keeps giving speech after speech and black church after black church. He's saying, I want your vote. I'll fix the educational system.
He's willing to earn it. He's not going to take the African-American community for granted, as the Democrats continue to do.
And I like that he's asking for those votes, because Republicans, frankly, in the past have not done enough outreach.
Absolutely.
That's exactly right. Somebody asked me today, what is the secret? Why is Trump increasing his support among black voters? According to one poll, up to 19.6. And if that's true, that's just astonishing. I said it's very simple.
That was the Pew poll.
Yeah, very simple. Yeah. He's asking for black votes. That usually doesn't happen. Usually Democrats say, well, they're going to win, so we'll just blow them off.
He takes it personally as a personal insult.
Really an astonishing comment that somehow that we owe it, we're his property and we're supposed to do as our master says, or something like that. That's just appalling. And I think that Trump is doing the right thing. He's going out and asking for black votes, which is unusual. And he's doing so on very specific issues, like school choice, for example. He's very, very specific about school choice. He wants to have a block grant program to give states, I believe it's $20 billion that they can use for school choice initiatives. And you look at Hillary Trump, and she's completely